if the MFT is not there, the managed file transfer, we cannot do those transactions. So we notified the customer, and somehow or the other we realized that a core provider, they were also impacted and they had shut down their service. In this case, the zero-day came out, the exploit was being, actively exploited. Several organizations were compromised, and of course, it was on the kev list by the end of the day. But the end of the day would have been too late.
It's such an honor to be with you on the show. Thank you so much for accepting my invite. This is the inaugural season. What I'm trying to get towards in this show is to show the world what the life of a CISO truly is and how difficult is that role truly. So, Supro, I'll start with the fact that, you've been a senior leader, you've been a senior CISO for a while now. Would love to start from a day which you cannot forget in your life. What does that look like?
Well, Saket, thank you for inviting me to your show. And this has been a great conference too. We've really enjoyed it. Luckily, in my 18 years as a CISO in multiple organizations, I've not had too many days, but I have had a couple of days. And I'm going to mention two specific days. First is most recently, as you know, there was a well-known managed file transfer product that had a compromise, and that compromise was being exploited all over the world, and several organizations had already been impacted. Well, we used that product. And when we realized that we were exposed to it, so 6 a.m, wow, we had a alert come out that this was exploit from one of the agencies that we use to get this kind of data. By the time you get it on email, it takes a while. So this is an alert that came to us as a text, and then it was an email that we had driven to that alert.
So it's 6 a.m., you're awake,
6 a.m.
and you get a text on your cell phone. What did the text say, and what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was that, we get a lot of these, right? So what I look at is whether this is something we are susceptible to. So I knew that we used that product, so I immediately picked up the phone and called our CTO.
Okay.
And I asked
That's
him,
again at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. and he picked up the phone.
Okay.
Because he knows I'm not going to call him just like that, right? Yeah. And he picks up the phone, and I asked him the version. So he said, Supro, I'm going to get back to you.
Okay.
And he got back to me within about 10 minutes. Okay. And while he was doing that, I started doing all my research. Okay. On the internet, I was up already getting ready to have my first cup of coffee. And we start working on whether we are susceptible. By about 6:30, we had a bridge call going with several of our engineers there. Sure. And the CTO and I decided that we're going to get our CIO in. We got the CIO in. And within about 6:45, we decided that we're going to send an alert out to senior management, and we're going to shut down the service because we were susceptible.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm not going to go into the details of what happened. Basically, we were able to shut down the service till a patch was released late that night by the vendor. We also started working with our customers because this is a managed file transfer service through which our customers send us data, right? And the data is for the ACH transactions. So one of the key things that we do is we are a business bank. We do a tremendous amount of ACH transactions. So if the MFT is not there, the managed file transfer, we cannot do those transactions. So we notified the customer, and somehow or the other we realized that a core provider is the organization that provides our main banking service. They were also impacted, and they had shut down their service. So we send the broadcast out. We start looking at to our customers and to the internal company. So we let them know. These are all commercial customers.
Oh, okay, commercial customers. I thought private.
No, it's not. It's
the private.
Not consumers. It's more commercial customers who are doing ACHs.
Okay.
So we let them know, and we start working on the issue. Naturally, this does create some impact. So the next thing we had to do is think about how do we bring the data in from our customers on an alternate method, right? Our primary method has been compromised. What's the alternate method? And we do have a DRBCP plan, and the DRBCP plan was put into effect. We had an our incident coordinator in place, and we decided that we're going to use our alternate method. And the alternate method was, this was an MFT, a managed file transfer. We also had a secure mail version of sending that in.
Got it.
The only thing is there was manual work involved, and we used that secure mail to get the ACH files in, and then we also sent the secure mail to our core provider, and we used the alternate method. But the point is, the impact of this was minimal for us. I can tell you several organizations were impacted. In fact, over 5 banks were impacted that we know, and lots of organizations. Okay? I really thanked our IT staff for taking the action as fast as they did, for shutting down the service, and when the patch came out, patching it, and sending the notification out, and that was there. But that's why we keep on saying security is a team sport.
Yeah.
Okay, the CISO can do as much as they want to, but if the IT organization and parts of the other organization, also our DRBCP coordinator, did not kind of step up, it would not have gone as successfully.
6 a.m. you get this, 6:45 everybody's on the call, take the decision.
6:30 everyone's on the call.
6:30 everybody's on the call,
6:45 we shut down.
Everything's down. Everything's down till the end of day, till the time the vendor releases a patch, right? Talk to me a little bit about what happened after that. Did you then resume the service?
Yes.
What was the aftermath in terms of the awareness? Did you get more budgets? Just at a high level, what happened after that?
So, couple of things happened. The financial services, we have this organization called FS-ISAC.
Yep.
Immediately, there was an FS-ISAC special channel set up. And there were 2 channels, impacted and non-impacted. Anyone who was impacted got into a separate channel, and we exchanged intelligence between the CISOs. So it was a CISO restricted channel, and I knew what some of the other banks were doing, some of the other organizations doing, and we kind of exchanged notes. On the public channel, it was much more general, and it was filtered information, because a lot of the information that we were sharing were, several of us are public companies, but you have to share intel. You got to know what other people are doing. And that, I think, was the most important thing. And there was also vast coverage in a lot of the newspapers. So that was something, so customers knew that this was something major.
Got it. And post that, the next day, just internally, what were the conversations like with the CEO, with the board, with the CIO? Was it like, do we upgrade? How did this happen? Can this happen again? Like, just high level, what were the conversations like?
So this was a 0 day, right? A 0 day that was immediately exploited. And that's why we kind of were able to express our requirement for patching as soon as possible, right? In this case, the 0 day came out, the exploit was being, actively exploited. Several organizations were compromised, and of course, it was on the KEV list by the end of the day. But the end of the day would have been too late, right? That's why when you get the intel, you act on the intel, and you're able to reduce the blast surface. It kind of helps you, and that's why the CISOs have to be on their A game together with their CTOs and CIOs every day.
Fantastic. This has been very enlightening, Supro. Thank you for sharing that. Last one example where you can share like a conversation with, say, your CFO for budgets. How has that come along? Because you've obviously seen large companies, you've seen smaller companies also,
Correct.
And there are budget difference and budget constraints in different companies. Walk me through a conversation you remember with any of the companies you've been with a CFO or, say, the Chief Operating Officer about the budgets, and how do you justify those budgets?
Well, I can tell you, I used to be the CISO at FINRA, which is the regulator. And every time I used to, before I used to go present my budget to the whole IT steering committee, I used to have a meeting with the CFO. Because I know if I didn't get him on my side, it would be a very difficult conversation. So I used to go sit down with him, go through my whole deck a couple of times till he was happy. And he used to keep on saying, Supro, every time I do this, I see no ROI. Okay? And I used to keep on telling him, it's very difficult to show you an ROI. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the models we have today are not there. right? So the ROI on a security project, and a lot of the numbers we're pulling out of the sky, and I'm talking about maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Sure.
So today we have the models which help us put quantitative data. Yeah. Most recently, I was having a discussion with my CFO on a certain project, and we were actually able to get some industry numbers, right? And one of the things we were able to do is I was trying to get our patching up, okay? Most recently, our patching numbers were, in 5 days, we were hitting 95%. Oh, wow. Okay? Now, that didn't happen one day, and we had to put money behind that. Sure. But we were able to show that the window of opportunity when a patch is announced, especially if it's exploitable, sure, to when it's getting patched, that window of opportunity, if reduced, can really impact the overall security posture of your organization. Wow. And by spending that money on the resources, we were able to show that our exposure and what we could be susceptible could be reduced. And having that conversation, it wasn't a true ROI, but at least I could put some numbers. Now, I am really looking forward to using some of the FAIR methodologies because it puts really quantitative data. And that is what a CFO wants to see. A CFO wants to see actual hard data. And, you know, when we are doing risk with heat maps, that's old school. We've got to change. We've got to show numbers. And numbers don't lie.
You are at the FAIR conference. We are at the FAIR conference, and we are talking right now, this gathering of people who truly believe that the world needs to go from qualitative to quantitative.
Absolutely.
From subjective to objective. What has been your key learning? And as your role as CISO, if you had championed that methodology, maybe a decade back, 2 decades back, right? How would that change your trajectory with everything you've done till now?
I think it would change everyone's point of view because today, first I'm learning a lot over here. I'm here as a student. I'm learning. This is something I've been looking at, but I haven't spent the time. I'm now spending the time because I see the value from it. And if you talk to any CISO, they will tell you risk quantification is one of the toughest things because they are always, when you're going and having a conversation with your board, or if you're having a conversation with your CFO, especially with your board, the board, especially in the banking arena, and today we've got about 10 areas where there's so many risks. Liquidity risk, credit risk, these risks are very, very, very critical for the business. Yep. And then you have cyber risk over there. So it kind of is lost in the overall scheme of things. But if you bring in data and if you can show them that this risk needs to be managed because it's critical, no more heat maps, actual numbers. And then once they put the money and we can show progression of the risk over time, or together with the threat, because the threat is also evolving, right? So based on today's threat, this is what it is. Based on tomorrow's threat, it could be higher or lower. But you can show the numbers, or at least. I think that is something that is very, very critical from this conference. And I really think, because I've been talking to a lot of CISOs over here, meeting some old friends, as you can see, and everyone is very excited. And especially now that most of the CISOs are signing the 10Ks, it's a different arena. And I think going to the board and having a discussion with actual numbers and actual values and quantification would really help that discussion.
Very, very useful. Supro, you've been amazing. The insights you shared have been very, very valuable for our listeners. Thank you so much for doing this with me.